So you're thinking of selling your house? Here is a guide to help you navigate the ups and downs and the costs involved. My name is Sandy Hodkin and I'm a real estate agent here in Cocoa Beach working with Remax Aerospace. So today we're going to talk a little bit about selling your home, the costs you can expect to occur, and what you need to do to get your house ready. So before you've put a for sale sign in your front yard, there are things that you might want to take into account. There are going to be some costs involved in this, and this will really depend on the market. It will depend on the price of the home. It will depend on the state of the home. If your home is well maintained, there may be just very few little things that we might have to do. As a realtor, I usually have a conversation with my seller, and we sit down and we talk about the house. We walk through the home and we go to each room and come up with a plan if things have to be done. It could be something as simple as painting the baseboards because they're looking worn or they're looking very dirty. Always I suggest that we have the home deep cleaned so that it shows its best. I also, if we have a lot of windows and we have a view, I will also suggest that we have the windows clean so that the natural light comes through and people can see your yard or the water view. Landscape is very important. The curb appeal of your home as people drive up to it is very important, and it can be a very simple fix. This time of the year in Florida, I always suggest that we mulch the front yard. It will give a pop of colour and it will make it very clean looking, and that is not a big expense. That is something that the homeowner can do themselves. Other things here, because we have a lot of palm trees and palm fronds, then it's a simple fix just to have them removed. The next item that's worth taking into consideration are repairs and maintenance. Now, this is something that your home may not need if you've taken care of it throughout the years and you have kept up with all the work that's involved in taking care of your home. A little fix might be that the flapper in the toilet has been slowly leaking water into the tank, and that's something that you can easily do. You go to the local hardware store, you go buy the little rubber flapper, and you can install it yourself for a few dollars. Other items might be bigger items, maybe that you've had the windows, or there's a chip in a window, or the door doesn't shut properly, or it's got some dry rot or something like that. Those are things that you would want to take care of so that your home can be put on the market, and you can mark it to VA and you can mark it to FHA, because those are items that would be required to be replaced and repaired. In the same vein as the repair and maintenance, there are going to be things that you have done to your home in the upgrade department. And this is something that if you've replaced the seawall, for example, those are going to be items that you want to list. If you've had a new roof, or you've had new AC, or you've had ductwork done, all these items are not necessarily things that people see when they walk through your home, but therefore you would want to come up with sort of an upgraded list and attach that to your home and let people know that these are things that you have done. In Florida, we have a situation now with cast iron pipes, and a lot of homes were built in the 60s, and these cast iron pipes are starting to deteriorate. This is a big expense, and your insurance company may cover it, may not cover it. But if you can say when you put your house on the market, we've updated the plumbing and we have no cast iron pipes. Another one would be aluminium wiring. So if you can say we've had it replaced, or we've had the alucons added to the breaker, or the breaker box being replaced, all these items are expensive. And so if you can say that you've had them done, then that makes your house look a little bit more favourable than the one down the street that has not had these items done. I've attached a couple of pictures so that you can actually get to see the benefit of this. So we have an empty room, and then we've got the photographer filling in with furniture. So I've done a living room for you, and the owner's suite, and the dining room. So that gives you an idea of what it looks like on the internet and in the MLS. So now your house is on the market and we have a contract. So we have a buyer come through with their realtor and they've put in an offer. Typically, there is an inspection period. And in that inspection period, the buyer typically will have an inspector come to the home, and the inspector will go through the home and give a list of things that they think are necessary for repair. In some states, you have to repair everything. In other states, it's what you negotiate. So if I'm working with the buyer, I will typically have the conversation before we go and do the inspection. A lot of the homes in Cocoa Beach area are older, and there are going to be many things that are going to need tweaking and repairing. When we've had the inspection, we may have 15, 16 items on the list. This is an as-is contract in most of Florida, and so the seller will repair a few things. So if you're the seller, you might not have to think about, well, what am I going to repair? What am I not going to repair? How much is it going to cost me in addition to what I've already cost or already spent? When I work with them, I usually say if it's a safety thing, a security thing, or a structural item, most people will want them repaired. This is also because of the 4-point inspection and the wind net. It is difficult to get insurance if you don't have a completed format of the form of these items. Another cost for the sellers is the commissions that are given to the real estate agents. This is something that you discuss with your agent up front. It is put in your contract, and then whatever fee that you come up with, it is generally split with the buyer's agent. These are costs that you can decide. You can come up with something and you and your agent will discuss it. So there is another cost that sellers can and may pay for or may not pay for depending on the market. So at the moment it is a seller's market, so that means there are very few houses on the market and we have more buyers than we have houses to sell. So this is a seller's concession, is something that you may not have to pay in this market. If it is the reverse and we have many houses on the market and only a few buyers, then there may be some items that you may pay for to make your home look more favorable. And these are called seller's concessions. For example, you may give a carpet credit. So you may give a couple $1,000s to the buyer so that they have an opportunity to replace the carpet or the flooring. If there are other items that you may help do, you may help pay the buyer's closing costs, you may help pay part of it, depending on the type of loan. If it's VA, in the past, sellers are required to pay for the termite inspection. Now that's a $75 cost. Now it's probably $80 maybe, but it's not a big expense. Closing costs are a part of the transaction. These are items that the buyer can shop for typically, but the seller usually picks a title company and the costs that are involved in that are what they pay for. They also have to cover the title insurance because you need to give a clean title to your buyer. Most real estate agents will do what we call an estimate of closing costs, so that you have an idea of what to expect. I've attached for this little video a closing statement on a house that I'm currently selling, so that I put that together for you. The home is priced at $1.2 million, and it shows you what is required. I didn't include the commission because that's between me and my seller. Most sellers have offered a home warranty. This is an insurance on the appliances in the home, and it might cover some of the plumbing, but it usually covers things like the refrigerator, the dishwasher, the stove, the microwave. This is the insurance policy against something breaking within the next year. I have typically bought this for my buyer, or I bought it for my seller to give to the buyer. This is just something that I do as an agent, but it is not necessary, and it's now something that the policies are covering less and less and less. So in my opinion, it is not covering what it used to. So it's not necessarily a good use of your money. Another cost that a lot of people forget is that you are selling your home. So you are going to have to move somewhere, and moving costs are pretty expensive now. But you've also got to think about the boxes, the tape. Do you need somebody to actually help you do that? Are you going to do it yourself and then just have a moving company put all the boxes in the truck and take it away? Or are you going to need somebody that's going to have to empty out your kitchen and wrap all the plates and the silverware and the china and put it into boxes and send it to your new place? So this is an expense. I mean, if you're just going around the corner, it's obviously not that expensive. But if you're moving out of state, when we moved from Washington DC to here, I believe it was close to $10,000 to move us. So you've sold your house and you are moving to your next place, but your next place isn't ready. Or you've decided that your new home, you want to have it painted before you move in. Or you want the floors sanded and refinished before you move in. So you've got to budget for accommodation for you, your children if you have any, your pets if you have any. So this might be in the form of rent, hotels. It might be budgeting for all the extra meals that you have outside of the home that you can't cook for. So these are costs that you do need to add on to make sure that you don't have a problem later with the expenses. So if you live in an HOA or a community that requires mandatory costs, these are things that you have to take into account as well. So the title company will look at when your last payment was made, whether you're going to close in the middle of a month, and so 15 days will go to you, 15 days will go to the buyer. If there's any special assessments that your HOA has imposed, you have to come up with a plan as to whether you're having to pay for them all before you sell, or are you going to pay a portion, and then when the buyer takes over the home or the condo, then they're going to pay the difference. Some HOAs you pay once a year, some HOAs you pay every 6 months, monthly, so it just depends. Most of the condos here in Florida, in our area, you are actually paying monthly, and then special assessments are something that are usually discussed. They have to be disclosed in your MLS. They have to show exactly how much it is, how soon they are due. If they're requiring 3 payments over the year and you're closing on June the 16th and 2 payments are due before June, then the seller may have to pay them, and then if 1 payment is due after June, then obviously the buyer would have to pay for those too. So there is a cost associated with your mortgage. So if your mortgage company penalizes you for paying off the mortgage sooner rather than later, then that's a cost that you would have to look into. Most mortgage companies now, when you sell, it just automatically wipes out the mortgage, and so it is covered. So the costs associated with selling your house obviously will vary, and they do vary according to the market. They vary to your home. Is it a condo? Is it a single family home? Is it a duplex? Those all are costs that are affected by the actual property itself. I hope that this has helped you a little bit. If you have any questions, then I can help you in more details. As an agent, I typically sit down with my sellers and we go through what's called the seller's disclosure. And on that seller's disclosure, we put in there anything that they have knowledge about, anything that they know about the street that they live on, if there's going to be any kind of assessments due in an HOA. We talk about when they had the roof last repaired or serviced, or when it was put on. We talk about the AC, how old it is, when it was last serviced. We go through every item and we talk about it, and then the seller has to fill it in. It's not something that the agent can do, and so if they do, I leave it with them and they have a few minutes to fill it in at their leisure and then send it back to me. If I can be of any help in doing a seller's cost sheet for you, I'm happy to do that. I hope that you have learned a little bit of something about selling your home. Again, if you enjoy my videos, then you can subscribe, you can ring the bell, you can call me, email me, text me. I am available, and I hope that I will help you in the future.